Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, What Life is Like in the Industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I'm your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Colon. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites within communities throughout the state of Massachusetts. Currently, the communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, and also Granby and Amherst as well. His tours spotlight the local canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. In today's episode, we'll be discussing the Aldenville Commons, located in Chicopee, Mass. So what are some of the features inside the Commons?
There's a lot of plaques around the Commons, and that's good because this is a place that anyone from the neighborhood of Aldenville can go there. Now, the biggest feature of all, by size and importance, is a fountain. It probably still works some days in the summer. It's hard to tell, but there's a fountain maybe about 8 feet high above its base, and it does have a container below it which can catch the water, and it's totally made out of masonry rocks. That's a good sign. Now, there's also plaques by Alderman Aldenville, Post 337, a couple of those. And there's a plaque to Mark Rivers, who was from Aldenville and died in Vietnam during the war. And then there's a plaque telling when it was settled in that area. And there was a new one put in. We're going to talk about that at the end. So we're also going to talk outside what's around the perimeter of the Commons area. And we're going to talk about why Aldenville was even formed. It has a peculiar shape, very long and narrow. And then we're going to talk about what recently in 2024 was put into it, because that's very important. And the day after I made a video there, took pictures there, they put it in, and it surprised me. I read the story, it said I was just there. So look out for that later.
And what about the features on the outside?
Right, when you walk around this park, you get a good sense of the architectural values. Almost all the houses in Aldenville were made by one construction firm. They made about 200 houses in Aldenville, right along Granite Street and a little bit down some of the smaller side streets. And that's why it seems to have a general sense of some similarity, but enough differences that you hardly even know that they were built by the same company. And when you walk around the Commons, you get a sense of Dale Streets. There's one Victorian home, there's a triple-decker on one side, and then towards the Groton Street, you get a couple more Victorian homes. One across the street still has wooden shingles, but the other one's been vinyled over. But you get a good sense of what it must have looked like. And up in the distance from the tip of the park, you can see the St. Rose de Lima Catholic Church. It was a French-Canadian ethnic group church, and it's still one of the most important places within Aldenville itself. Now, if Aldenville has a certain shape and a certain size that you might peculiar, we'll talk about that. But a good walk through the neighborhood will give you a sense of all the nice architectural designed homes.
And really quick, before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, for more information or to sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can find videos and podcasts of the stops along each of his tours, as well as photos and text of the historical sites throughout as well. And for private tours and other inquiries, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, and his tours make for fun, educational, outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, why was Aldenville formed?
It was formed to be a trolley neighborhood. The trolley would come up from Chicopee Street upwards, and it would go on over the bridge, Davy Bridge, and then on into Springfield. It was based in Holyoke, and when it got to about the Chicopee River, they had to stop there where people have to get off the trolley and get on the Springfield-based trolley. So it was halfway through, you'd have a new trolley to go on. And this one through the Aldenville neighborhood was the backbone of the neighborhood. And the trolley came around the year 1890s, beginning 1890s, and it helped form the structure of the neighborhood, a long, thin neighborhood above Willimanson. And it's one of two trolley neighborhoods within Chicopee. There's 5 neighborhoods in Chicopee. 2 are trolley neighborhoods. The other one is a Fairview neighborhood. That's very hard to understand, but yes, it's a trolley neighborhood. Now, this one's much easier to see. You can see the trolley would have gone up Groton Street, and the homes are and the businesses are based right on that street. And it was definitely a neighborhood, a lot of neighborhood values because it had the St. Rosalima Church itself. And thus, it's not that anymore, but still you can see the remnants of the look of it. Still looks like it should be a long, narrow neighborhood.
And what has been placed into the commons recently?
All right, placed into the commons about 2 weeks ago was a plaque to honor the French Canadians, or the Quebec ethnic groups mostly, in what they've done for Aldenville. That was by far the highest ethnic group within Aldenville from about 1890 into the 1950s. It has changed a little bit since then. Some Polish people have come in, and other groups, and so it's changed with the times. But you can always tell by the schools, by the looks of the homes, and sometimes by the pride the neighborhood has, by what ethnic group is there. So, they put a new plaque up. It faces towards Groton Street. I'll try to get a picture of it. It's brand spanking new. It's about 2 feet high. It's very nice. And I wish Holyoke would develop this French-Canadian pride that Chicopee has been developing over the last couple of decades. It's a remnant of 100 years ago, but I think that in Holyoke you have enough too. So I'm very proud of Chicopee and the French ethnic group to do this. So thank you.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of your expertise. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And be sure to check out other podcasts on his website, as well as on SoundCloud.com. And new videos and podcasts are posted daily. Thank you for tuning in.